Bismillah, welcome to Sports Extra. With the latest roundup of sports today. Pakistan were in their practice match today. So Pakistan versus Victoria 11 at the Junction Oval in Melbourne. Day one, of course, concluded. It's a two-day practice match, so we'll talk about that in detail. And Pakistan's playing 11 that needs to be gauged. Of course, there are injury scares still. We've been told that Numan is fit now. He had a finger injury. But on the other hand, Khurram Shahzad's news is now making headlines. So he's obviously sidelined, and who are Pakistan going to go with? That is something that needs to be explored as well. So we'll discuss that and what Pakistan can do differently. Because on the other hand, we had Saud Shakil talking to the media, and he was a very confident young man. So he said that he believed that this might be a dream test, the MCG, and he was very confident that Pakistan can definitely win a test match and make a comeback in the series. I, for one, am a fan of Saud Shakil on a personal level. I think he's a good cricketer, but then again, still a long way to go when you talk about proving yourself on the international circuit, and he was one of the positives we can see in the first test as well. But the fact is that these 30s and 40s in modern day cricket won't cut it. You got to step up character, and I think that's not just for Saud Shakil, but I mean it for the entire batting lineup of Pakistan. So, and you got to score runs. We talked about the run rate. That's going to be an issue in test cricket in Australia. You can't just play with 2.7 runs per over and expect to win a test match. That's not happening. So we'll discuss all about this and the possibilities in detail as well. Then, of course, you move on to the series between England and the West Indies. Of course, West Indies are trying to make an amend of not being there in the T20 World Cup, and I think all in all it's been a good series so far, and we've seen a lot of positives, and I'm very excited that the West Indies is at least going to be in the T20 World Cup, so we'll get to see a bit of flavour from them as well. England's white ball campaign has been disastrous the past year, so they want to make amends as well. So we'll talk about that, but on the other hand, I think it's a long way for the West Indies, and it's still something that needs to be explored. A lot of people off the record, in daily life ask that what is the real problem with the West Indian Cricket Board and what's going on. So I think the structure just doesn't exist. So although West Indies beat England, I think although they've shown their prowess, that they're a side that knows still how to make an impact, but the fact is that things need to be directed to a level where we can see consistency, because obviously now the world of cricket is becoming so competitive. We're seeing Scotland, we're seeing the Netherlands, we're seeing many associate teams now coming up the ranks. I think it is very difficult for each side to maintain their status. So we'll discuss that as well. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by sports expert today on Sports Extra. He's of course a part of our regular programming as well, Mr. Rizwan Haider. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
It's great to have you on the show. We've also been joined by first-class cricketer and expert, Mr. Kashif Manjeed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Ahmed.
And we're going to be discussing these things in detail, like I said. But first of all, Rizwan, when we explore Pakistan's chances in the MCG, I don't want people to, try to believe that a miracle is going to happen overnight. It's going to be equally tough as it was in Perth, and obviously sources did tell us that it might be another track that Pakistan would eventually feel threatened with as well. So how are you seeing this second test match going into action?
I think we should not even be exploring the chances. We know what the result is going to be. The problem with Pakistan is not talent. We keep saying that the talent is a problem. It's never been a problem. It's they play like mercenaries, individual plays. You need to play as a team to win test matches. You need to have 2 or 3 batsmen getting 150s, 130s, building partnerships. Similarly, as a bowler, you need to support each other. If there's one bowler who's attacking, there has to be another one who plays the role of a stock bowler. I think lack of first-class cricket in our test match players is a big issue. We keep saying Shaheen is world-class, and you start comparing him with Wasim Akram and all that. But in reality, other than his test matches, if you take the test matches out, he's just played 9 first-class games. That is not enough. Wasim Akram put a career in for Lancashire and for PIA, just improving himself, and that's the reason they had the fitness to bowl 20-25 overs in a test match. Shaheen doesn't have that. Khurram Shahzad played a few first-class matches, got into the team, and the very first match he shows how fragile he is, that he's not fit enough for the second match. Similarly, Ahmed Jamal, I mean, look at the level of Pakistan, that somebody who I think could be an excellent T20 player, and we put him in as a test match bowler. So that's one of the few reasons I feel that Pakistan is just not doing the things which need to be done It's not, Pakistan is not brave enough to make the decisions which need to be done in the long run to make sure that all these players play first-class cricket properly.
Well, as soon as he said mercenaries, I was going to say the expendables. But then I thought that it might just go to the literal meaning as well.
It is, to an extent.
So I think it all boils down to a long debate of pitches, first-class structures, and obviously when you've got two great minds in studios with Rizwan and Kashif, you can explore every bit of that as well. But Kashif, before we talk about Pakistan's chances in this test match, I think yet again we have another injury scare for Pakistan with Khurram now not being available. And over the past 2-3 days, I've been actually going through a thought process and just thinking that what has changed over the years that our bowlers, especially bowlers, are breaking down so easily if I look at the past 5 to 6 years, and then I go to a longer past and I see that our fast bowlers were pretty fit enough. Is it the training? Is it the practice? What has changed that we're not seeing the same level of fitness anymore?
Okay, Ahmed, the answer I want to come up with might take 2 to 3 minutes. 15 years of cricket on pretty grassy tracks, where fast bowlers just deliver the ball and eventually the ball kicks off the surface and do every possible thing a cricket ball can do, and the batsman has no answer for them. Starting in 2002 to 2016-17, then we have a structure change with 6 teams. Kokobura used dead tracks. All those fast bowlers who've been killing the batsman just gone out vague, and we haven't seen a good fast bowler. Eventually the thought process started in PCB, and it's all over the media. Where are those bowlers of 150 kph? And we started finding those gems all across the Pakistan, and we have come up with 5 to 6 names. Let me take those names: Hasnain, Shahnawaz Dhani, Ehsan Ullah, most probably Musa, and that is it, most probably. These are okay. Naseem Shah add to that. And when we talk about those, we created heroes out of those 5-6 fast bowlers. That these are the future of the Pakistan. Just not thinking and pinpointing the amount of cricket those heroes have played domestically or internationally. This is so raw from Pakistan Cricket Board. If we want to create a hero, that our next star will be Shahnawaz Dhani. And when we go to the statistics of Dhani, we haven't seen any amount of cricket, because we just picked him and we came to know that he's quick and he's our hero. That is it. Because look, Ahmed, when we talk about cricket globally, fast bowlers needs consistency with their bodies, with their lino lengths, with their even charisma. Everything has to be there to be a good fast bowler. We are competing with a team who has got 3 fast bowlers, and last time I got the news of any injury, that was in 2019 World Cup, when we came to know that Josh Hazlewood is unfit. So these 3 fast bowlers, along with the battery they have got of the fast bowlers, it is very unfortunate for Pakistan to creating heroes and coming up with those fast bowling battery without actually testing them in our own backyard. This is not going to help in longer term.
Criminal.
Yes. So Rizwan, that is of course a very significant part of this entire debate that we're having.
End of the day, I mean, when you, as Kashif was saying, Wasim Akram had 800, 900 wickets, 1,000 wickets. Waqar Younis had, Shoaib Akhtar, the fastest bowler ever, had 188 test match wickets. Shaheen Afridi is breaking down at the age of 23 with 70, 80 odd wickets. That's just not fair enough. Haris Rauf can bowl at 140, but his stamina is not more than 4 overs. He's not even good enough for one-day internationals. Similarly, Naseem Shah is broken down.
At least he was honest about it. I said it the other day as well. At least he was clean about it.
Full marks to him on that. But the problem is, if you're going to go full strength against Netherlands, against Zimbabwe, and not give a chance to the youngsters, there's no way you're going to have a pool of players who are good enough to play international cricket. Saud Shakil had to wait how long just to get into the team as a batsman? Salman Ali Agha had to wait how long? How come people like Shaheen Afridi can come in for after 6 years? He's just got 9 first-class matches. Yes. That is just not enough to groom a fast bowler.
And a vice captain right now.
And a vice captain right now.
And a captain too. White ball cricket captain.
Yes. Let me assure you, we do not have a single fast bowler who's good enough, who can consistently bowl 25 overs a day in 3 consecutive test matches on at least 2 days. We don't have one. I mean, can you identify anyone? India, for example, I keep saying India and as an example, they had Rohit Sharma out for the World Cup. Before the World Cup, he did not play any one-day internationals. They did not have Bumrah for the entire 1 year. They did not have Virat Kohli for an entire 1 year. KL Rahul did not play. And that is how they had Pandya groomed as a captain. That is how they had batsman Ishan Kishan coming in and Shubman Gill coming in.
That pool of players that we talk about.
We make sure that Babar Azam does not miss a one-day international, even if it's against Bangladesh or Zimbabwe or Sri Lanka, because we want him to see to be number one. And I think it's selfish on the players' part, because they need to identify, yes, you know, I need to come at number 6 because the target is 130. Let's bring a youngster in as an opener for a game.
Well, that depends. I mean, a lot of people are right now saying that, you know, you need to get Saim Ayub involved in this test match. But then again, Rizwan, my question would be the same, that what happens if he does not perform what people are expecting
I
him to do?
definitely don't see Saim Ayub in a test match yet, because he hasn't played enough international cricket. He hasn't played enough first-class cricket. First-class cricket is the breeding ground for test matches. Until and unless you have 20, 25 test matches, you know, for a fast bowler to have talent come in for a couple of games, that's different. But for a batsman who hasn't played first-class cricket in Rawalpindi and Lahore, you expect him to play and perform in Melbourne. That's just criminal. That's, you know, screwing with his career.
But, you know, it comes down to the system and its requirement as well. And Kashif, I remember the other day we were also having this debate that the fact is that even the skipper said that, you know, when he was asked why they preferred Sarfaraz over Rizwan, and I purely mean just the case for a first-class structure, and he said that he's recently in form, he had a good double 100 in the domestic season as well. If I talk about only that particular game in the domestic Quaid-e-Azam Trophy season that we had recently, about more than 600 runs were scored by one team. I mean, about 2 double centuries, a handful of centuries in that game. So it was a runs galore. So, you know, that brings us to a very important juncture. Then what kind of pitches do we want our batters to go with? Confidence getting 200 and then not performing on the international level, or giving your bowlers something at the domestic level?
Look, Ahmed, I just want persistence. If we want those pitches that contributes to a lot of runs from the batsmen, just go with it for the next 5 years. Ultimately, our bowlers get used to it of, you know, delivering on dead pitches. At least we can gain something out of it. But when we talk about pitches in one season that can produce runs, in the next season we came to know that it is a bowling friendly pitches, and then the next season is a batting friendly pitches. So after 3 seasons we cannot find out a good bowler or a good batsman, because when it's for the bowling pitches, bowling friendly pitches, we come out with the good bowlers, not the good bowlers but the average bowlers performing excellently. So when we talk about the batting friendly pitches, an average batsman can score bulk of the runs. So after 3 seasons, let me come up with one name. Kamran Ghulam scored heavily when it was Kokobura and dead flat pitches, and now there is no Kamran Ghulam in the lineup in the most probable 30 players, because simultaneously the changes in the format make sure that all those players who have been performing well in those 4 years have not been part of those lists. And those changes in the Pakistan Cricket Board also means there is no credible source to find out what will be the next year for the players. For the being a player, if I am a player and I think of Babar Azam, you know, Babar Azam as a player thought, okay, let's go for a rest because eventually my body requires it. Is he sure enough that he'll be picked in the next series? So this is where things are pretty much, disorganized or misorganized, I would say. So I want persistence. We have seen the era of 80s and the 90s with the board draws in the Pakistan, but eventually on those days we have got Imran Khan, we have got Wasim, we have got Waqar, Muhammad Akram, Shahid Nazir, Rahman Nazir, Jafar Aziz, and so on and so on. But those board draws actually led to the discovery of quality fast bowling. So, you know, we have to persist.
I mean, I can ask you plain simple. When was the last time you saw a genuine fast bowlers in the Pakistan team? Which is the last name you can recall? Simple as that.
In the test arena, most probably Shoaib Akhtar, that is.
You see, so
that's
you know, after that Pakistan did not produce a fast bowler.
Yes.
Yes.
For the last 20 years. And I cannot with so many arguments. But the most important argument will be 5 years you have to sit as a Pakistan Cricket Board members that this will be ideology of Pakistan. We'll be talking about dead wickets. Our batsmen will score heavy, and our bowlers will try to get the other teams out either with the spin quality of spin or either with the reverse swing and the fast bowling. That is.
Or either with a part-time bowling 22 overs on the first day.
Yes. So this is
Kashif, I humbly disagree. I think in the past 5 years, we have not produced a single spinner. We have not produced a single fast bowler who's quality. You know, imagine that on dead wickets of subcontinent, India has got Anil Kumble who's got 400 plus wickets. They've got Harbhajan Singh as a spinner who's got 400 wickets. We haven't got, in a 70-year history of test match cricket, we haven't got a single spinner who has got 300 wickets. You know, 260 or 70, Danish Kanari or Abdul Qadir, Mushtaq, they're all at the same level. We haven't got a single fast bowler who's got 500 wickets in test match cricket. They've got imagine Nathan Lyon. I can understand Shane Warne getting 700, but Nathan Lyon getting 500 wickets by playing 60% of his matches in Australia.
I've always said he's a quality spinner. I've always said
he is. He hasn't got the flair, but yes, he's a quality spinner. We haven't got that persistency. We haven't got that quality. So I think for me, the first class structure, the pitches are the reason that we have this problem.
You know, when we talk about not having quality spinners, let's start in the era of
But
80s.
Kashif, just one. Quality spinners we don't have, quality fast bowlers we don't have, quality batsmen, Babar Azam, yes, but other than that maybe Saud Shakib, but we haven't got anything.
What about a quality think tank with the team? We will not come to that. But Kashif, you would like to continue with the spinners argument.
You know, as Rambi said, I agreed, but I'm talking of 80s. Let's find out the 80s era. We have got quality fast bowling lineup. We can, remember those names who've been leading the pack of those fast bowlers globally. So same applies to the 90s. We have got quality fast bowling. When any team has got quality fast bowling, the spinners tends to get lack of matches, or you can say lack of bowling in the matches, because okay, let's talk about 90s. We have seen that 90s. The moment other teams we take 5 wickets for the other teams, it's eventually Wasim and Waqar to wrap up the tail. It's eventually those two guys, they can take the ball. Okay, thank you very much. First 5 wickets are down. Next 5, no problem. That is quite easily done by Wasim Waqar in those areas, and then the Shoaib Akhtar, and even for that matter, Razak and Azhar Mahmood with those reverse swings. So for Saqlain to take wickets, it's always have to take the top orders wickets, and the moment they take the top 5 wickets, Saqlain have to 3 or 4 of those 5. The next 5 is a clean up job for the fast bowlers. So this was the psyche of ours in the 90s, and so does in 80s with Imran and Sarfaraz and all those guys.
I think even in the early 2000s we were getting to that.
Yes,
that was happening.
So this was the psyche. Okay, when it comes to the batting, I totally agree with Javed Bhai to one point. Batsman is someone who score runs no matter what the conditions are. When we talk about India, they know their ideology. They can play spin very well. So the moment there is a series decided to be played in India, it's always a turning track no matter what. They have lost series to England when Monty Panesar and Graham Swan spin to the defeat, but still their ideology says that we are still the best playing with the spin playing nation. So they haven't changed anything. With Pakistan, we every now and then we find a think tank, as Ahmed mentioned, coming up with the ideology of changing ourselves for the next couple of years. That is not going to happen with any cricketing nation, that they can change for the next 2 years and then come back to their original. So we have to be persistent for 5 years, decided we want grassy green tracks, let's go and find our batters. Because eventually
I absolutely agree with you, Kashif. We are a confused nation.
Yes.
Last 3-4 years, can you imagine losing to Australia at home, losing to England at home, drawing with New Zealand at home? How can you expect the team to go abroad and win if you can't have wickets where you're brave enough to make wickets where you get a result? You were scared of losing those matches. You prepared for draws, and ultimately, you lost out. So that's you need to be consistent. You need to have an ideology.
But then, Rizwan, you need like you said, it's not just confused. I think then you need to be a very brave and consistent cricket
I've
board.
used the word. Yes, we're not brave
time.
enough. I've used the word inconsistent, but I think we're not brave. It's not brave enough. We're scared of losing, and that's the biggest issue.
I'll be plain simple, Rizwan. If right now and whatever happens after these 2 months, we know that the structure is going to change once again. So whatever happens after this, and if there is consistency, what we would like to see, if we finally decide and sanity prevails in the cricket board, and we decide that we're only going to give people chances who are performing on the first class level and who have a handful of games to their belt. Let's just decide a factor of the number of games. But then again, you should then, for the next 1 or 2 years, if you are playing that amount of cricket, then not be result oriented probably. That's the only way to go forward.
I think you need to look at Australia structure or Ranji Trophy structure or the English county structure. In Australia, the only change in the last 20 years has been the addition of Tasmania. In England, the only 2 changes in the last 20-25 years is the addition of Durham and having a 2-tier system where there's relegation and promotion. I don't know if there's been any changes in the Ranji Trophy structure in the last 25 years or not. We have had 6 or 7 changes in the last 20 years. If that is the consistency you're going to keep going with and keep changing the structure, you need to have a bunch of heads. You need to make a team which studies the Australian, English, Indian system, and then come up with a system which is acceptable to all the regions, all the departments, and then stick with it for the next 10 years. Have a resolution or something that, come what may, we are going to go with the system and then find out how we are. But other than that, if you keep on changing like this, I mean, we know we're not going to win the 2024-20 World Cup, we're not going to win the Champions Trophy, we're not going to win anything. We're a mediocre team right now who's good enough for 4th, 5th or 6th, but we're competing for 4th or 5th. We're not in the top 3 in any way. Even the World Cup, before the World Cup, we knew Pakistan has a chance of making it to the semis, but that's about it. India always had a chance of winning. Australia, England had bad luck, but they've been performing very well over the last 2-3 years. We've been mediocre for so long that we've gotten used to the fact that individual highlights of Babar being number 1 or Shaheen being number 1 is something that we celebrate. We need to celebrate things of team winning, not individuals. It's a team game.
Absolutely. But you know, Kashif being a first-class cricketer, how would you rate the resolute decision now that is being taken to limit the first innings in a first-class structure to 80 overs? Right now, I think after what Bazid Khan spoke about it on our sister channel PTV Sports, it did make headway as well, and a lot of people actually jumped into the bandwagon. So as a first-class cricketer, what would you have to say, considering for someone who has been through the structure, who has been through the levels of cricket that Pakistan system has over the years?
It's a disastrous decision for me, because limiting to the 80 overs for a 4-day match, what we want to prove to the world? That we are, okay, let's not talk about the world, what we are trying to prove to ourselves, that we'll be playing aggressive cricket. So if we are trying to play aggressive cricket, as a batsman in the longer format, there is a word come, that is consistency, and taking along your teammates with you, that is to stay on the wicket, to occupy crease if the conditions are tough. Because eventually, Ahmed, 80 overs mean that as a batsman, your sole responsibility is to play 10 to 15 overs. That is 60 to 90 balls.
Or rather play time.
Rather play time.
Yeah.
Rather play time. So
get the ball old enough, yes.
60 to 90 balls for a specialist batsman to play in a longest format of the game, that is the 4-day cricket in domestic level. So is it we are trying to come up with that eventually a batsman who has to score a century on a difficult circumstances or difficult wickets, he has to go for his shots no matter what. And second important thing, when we talk about 80 overs, 80 overs divided into 4 specialist bowlers and a 1 non-regular or irregular or the
Spinner,
5th
yeah.
bowler. So what we are trying to achieve is maximum a fast bowler is going to bowl is around 12 to 15 overs. This is not going to help any of us, any of the cricketer in the longer term.
Yeah, it just boils, Kashmir, it is the same thing what we saw 5 years ago as well. I'll just you know, bring it even 3 steps down towards youth level cricket. So recently Islamabad and all other regions had their youth trials as well for cricket. And I was just gobsmacked the other day when I got to learn that a side that had been selected for Islamabad is still not finalized because more than half of the players have been overage in the wrist test once again. So it means that as, you know, boiling down to club cricket, boiling down to the youth cricket, then going upwards to first class, grade 2, whatever, we are not seeing any kind of improvement in cricket in Pakistan, be it any level, even club cricket right now.
The only improvement in Pakistan cricket right now is the franchises competing to beat each other in PSL, because that's the only highlight of our cricket or our cricketing journey for the last 5 years, and that is it. Haven't we seen, okay, last time any of us watched a 4-day or 5-day Qaid-e-Azam Trophy final, knowing that these are the potential candidates for the Pakistani team in the upcoming tour. We simply know for the fact that anyone who performs in the PSL gets a chance to play for Pakistan in T20 format. Next, he'll perform in that T20 format, he'll get a chance to play in one-day format. Next step is if he's performing in that one-day format, he'll be playing in the test side. There is no need to play those domestic cricket 4-day matches, and I can come up with examples. What have Shadab done throughout his career? For Islamabad United to Pakistan, Pakistan to playing test cricket in Ireland and England. So what does Fahim Ashraf does? What has Nawaz have done? So does Haris Rauf. So does Shaheen Shah Afridi. Even for that matter, how many domestic matches Babar Azam has played for any of the region or the department. This is the format right now we are talking about. This is the way leading to the test cricket for any of the Pakistani players. So okay, second, the fast bowling, I just came to you talk to any fast bowler in Pakistan, nobody wants to throw those 20 overs or 23 overs per day, because the financial aspect of those 23 overs bowled in domestic match has nothing to compare with the 4 overs bowled in the PSL. So as a fast bowler, if I'm a fast bowler, I'm good at bowling at 150. Am I, don't you think, I don't want to say that, but don't you think?
I'll be honest, one of our very dear friends said it a couple of years back. He said, I see a way now for my son to play for Pakistan in the future. I said, how? He said, it's going to be plain simple for the next couple of years now. Whoever wants their next of kin or whoever to play for Pakistan, just make them bowl a couple of deliveries above 150 and that's it. So, I think that criteria of pace and not having that quality is a big debate right now, and it's plain simple that's what we've been hunting for. Because Rizwan, initially you also mentioned, because our closest comparison and rivalry is to the Indian cricket team, that's what we want to achieve and defeat them without studying the structure. And why I say the structure is the fact that if I just look at the top 3 bowlers currently with the Indian test side, I can talk about Jasprit Bumrah, first of all, who people or the world in Pakistan have labeled as a T20 bowler. Well, in countless interviews he said that I want to be rated as a test bowler for India, and this is somebody who's very successful with white ball cricket. He's played 58 first class games. I'm saying 4-day and above. If you talk about Mohammad Shami, he's played 88. The youngest out of all of them is Mohammad Siraj, who is fairly new to the Indian test side. 61 first class games. I think that just gives us a plain idea of where people are heading and what we want to achieve by top 3 of our fast bowlers not even playing 115 games collectively.
I think altogether they haven't played enough games, as many games as Siraj or Shami has. I'll go back to what Kashif was saying. First class cricket limiting to 80 overs, you don't get batsmen who can develop hundreds into 200 and 300s. And then what are they going to do in test match cricket? Similarly, you don't get bowlers who can bowl 30, 35 overs and then come up with a 5-wicket haul instead of having a 15 over spell or something like that. So until and unless you make sure you do the basics right, you cannot develop a team. There are no shortcuts to hard work. You can have as much talent in the world as you can, but if you don't practice, if you don't work hard, then that talent is useless. And India has shown us that. They've, as Kashif was saying, they've kept on making spinning wickets, but they've developed their game so much that they are the only team to have beaten Australia in Australia twice now in the last 20 years. England hasn't done it, South Africa haven't done it, but India has, once under the captaincy of Virat Kohli and next time under the captaincy of the batsman when they got out for 36. Rahane. So we need to learn from that. We may be enemies, we may not be getting along, we may not be playing together, but at least you learn from the best, you see what they're doing right and try to replicate it, and that's how you're going to improve. Otherwise you can keep on playing as many tournaments as you want, but T20 is not the solution to success in one-day internationals. T20 is not the solution to success in test match cricket.
But Rizwan, we're so blinded by that glitter and gold, and like I said that This series is going to end, the New Zealand series is going to start. You take these two series and you're not going to be worrying about the results once the PSL starts in February and March. It's all going to be what's happening with those 6 franchises in that Premier tournament, and people are going to talking about those players, and that's it.
And that is criminal. You know, India's got a bigger IPL than PSL. We have to accept that. But still, they make sure that their players go and play first-class cricket, develop their games, hone their talents. PSL is a breeding ground for, you know, youngsters coming in and showing, you know, hodgepodge cricket, hitting big hits, but they're not developing into big stars. For me, first-class cricket is the key, and you can play as much T20 cricket as you can. It's good to watch for the fans, but for me, it's not. It will never develop talent for you. There can be no shortcuts. You can have players who play very well in T20 cricket, but then again, in league cricket, there are always 2 or 3 good bowlers, 1 or 2 good bowlers, a couple of average bowlers, and a couple of mediocre bowlers. So everybody has a chance to look after if you get lucky and get 2 mediocre bowlers.
And the threshold is less. The threshold.
Exactly, you've got 4 overs, 50 over
4
boundaries.
overs or a good 30 you can score.
Exactly, and the
30.
boundaries are short. They want the pitches are flat. How can you expect people to develop their games? It's good for fun, but it's not developing the game or helping the game.
Okay, if T20 is the best format and for the youngster, I just came across that memory of going through the statistics of Surya Kumar Yadav. He has played 74 or 75 first-class matches with an average of around 45, which is not a good average considering the fact that he's an Indian and plays in India. But after 75 matches, he can play anywhere he wants to in that ground on this pitch. He's a 360 player. He has got so many shots, but the basics are right. 73 matches into 4 days. This makes a lot of cricket, a lot of temperament, and lot of stamina to be out there, you know, physically and mentally.
For someone who's been labelled as a T20 cricketer.
Labelled as a
Imagine that.
classic T20 player, has played 73 first-class matches.
I mean, the least number of games in the Indian side right now, first-class games, have been played by Hardik Pandya, just 29, and that too because he's very injury-prone. But then again, even he has an average of more than 30. So I think that exposure.
And that's
is
20
clearly
more
there.
first-class games than Shaheen Afridi.
Yeah, so there you go. You know, so that and I'm talking about only individuals who are rated as T20 or one-day cricketers for India. And on the other end, people. That's why I believe that people need to go and study and talk on the basis of stats. Even analysis in Pakistan should be done on the basis of stats as well. And finally, Kashif, I must ask you, there's another argument, and that is for not just gauging a first-class season of a player, but also gauging him for the right kind of tour or pitches that you're going for as well. For example, in the past, India used to do it brilliantly, playing Murli Vijay when they needed to play in Indian conditions, and when they were traveling, they would probably swap him with another opener.
Horses for courses.
Yes.
I totally agree with this. But we have got that structure to develop those horses in our own backyard? This is one aspect of my answer, because when we talk about certain individuals doing good in those certain conditions, we have to create those conditions for those individuals.
Very true.
You know, what we're trying to find out is he's good player of back foot and cut and pull. Let's find out if he can survive in UAE. So we are putting our players into different
Kashif,
and
it
difficult
is
conditions.
a lot of hard work. It's an entire process to go and find a marble slab and bring it and try to bounce a ball
No, can I
and
cut
work
in?
on your pull shot.
Can I
Yes,
cut in?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
You know, if you remember in the 80s, England and Australia used to get shivers traveling to Pakistan or India. They had trouble with the food, they had trouble playing the spinners, and they would, you know, lose the series 3-0. Even before reaching there, they had mentally lost the series. But they've developed their game so much, they've improved so much that now they're not scared. We are scared when Australia tours to Pakistan.
The concept of those
We
Sena
are scared
countries,
when England
yeah,
is coming
I
to
don't see that
Pakistan.
happening.
Exactly. We haven't got any fast bowler. If you look at all the fast bowlers, you take out Khurram Shahzadi, you take out Abner Jamal because they've just come in. But the remaining fast bowlers who have been playing for the last 2 years haven't got combined, I think, not even 50 first-class games.
I think the best of them would have to
mean-
be Hassan Ali, the best of them.
Yes,
out of
you
all of
take
them.
Hassan wasn't in the team last year in test matches
yeah,
or one
he
day.
wasn't, he wasn't.
So basically it was Naseem Shah, Haris Rauf
And Shaheen Shah
and Shaheen Shah Afridi, and combined they haven't even got 50 first-class matches. So
Absolutely.
So you're nowhere in the picture.
And I agree with the confusion, because we played Mohammad Ali in Rawalpindi against England. Then we decided that he's not fit for the game. Then when we went to Australia, we took Khurram. He's injured now, so God knows what they're going to do in the next series. But you know, this is a long argument that we talk about. But the Boxing Day Test match on the 26th starts at the MCG. Pakistan have still got another day of this practice match and hoping for something positive, of course. They had a fantastic practice match before as well, but then couldn't transcend that form. But only time will tell what happens. Kashif and Rizwan, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you both on the show. That wraps it up for me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.